to another edition of the Cavalier Family podcast. Now, some of you are listening and some of you are watching, and those of you who are watching, hope you enjoy this little, three window, three gentlemen segment here. As you already know, we are an independent studio, and on this show, we will be discussing life entertainment from the big screen to the small screen, whether if it's, movies such as Spider-Man, No Way Home, all the way to, the independent movies that we have yet to discuss, which is, The Lost of Pasture. Not bitter that we haven't discussed it yet, but, I have feelings too. We also will be discussing, of course, top TV shows, cartoons, sometimes video games. We do have times to discuss that as well. Toys as well. We'd also like to thank Kevin Holmes, who did the intro and outro video for us. I would like to thank Justin Dye, who's created many of the musical elements for us for the show, as well as our researcher, Stephen Dawson, too. As far as updates go, we still have that shop that you can, of course, visit, which the link of that link for that is actually in the description below. Go ahead and support us by, for every t-shirt that gets bought, for every coffee mug that gets bought, for anything that you see there, every purchase actually goes to, the monthly payments and such for this podcast, for future, independent movies that, we've been trying to launch for a little over a year. We also like to bring the entertainment as well from all the independent writers and stuff to you guys as well. That's the whole point of this channel, is making sure that every voice is being heard, rather than those in Hollywood. Not saying that anybody in Hollywood's bad, they're great, but a lot of us have stories to tell and want to share. So just go ahead and support us there. As you can see, we do have two new individuals. You have Ro with us, which is down below. If you're watching YouTube, he is actually one of our new hosts that will be joining with us, as well as, as far as updates, we will be transitioning. And with the transitioning, we want to make sure that we bring as much entertainment and as much information to you as possible. So that's why what we will be doing is, after the show, we will be doing 1 year a month and 4 separate subjects for each week. So for an example, 1 week will be top TV shows. Next week will be top cartoons, all for that year, and so on and so forth. There's no difference, but we want to make sure that we bring you as entertaining as well as educational as possible. And with that in mind, we want to showcase possibly our last guest on the show, possibly, because we may have one more. But he's a gentleman born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri. He moved to Florida at the age of 10. He's from a family of 5. Now, that's not counting parents. No, that's counting 2 brothers, 2 sisters, and of course, he's the 4th. He graduated from Polk State last year in digital media degree, currently pursuing his dream in media work specifically for, and he can correct me on this, on the pronunciation, but Pacira Bioscience as a production manager, graphic designer, specialist. This man practically does everything. And when I mean everything, I mean on the side, for his hobbies, he likes to, freestyle rap. He likes to create music videos as well. But there's so much more to what he, brings to the table, and what we kind of want to give you guys as far as the insights on his line of work that goes. So let's go ahead and dissect him metaphorically, not physically, on what he does while his working habits. So join us today as we introduce Mr. Chris McLennan. Chris, how are you doing today?
Doing well, doing good. How are you guys?
Doing good. And for those of you, I do understand that I didn't give him the proper introduction, but I would like to introduce you all to Ro, who is currently traveling from Las Vegas specifically. He is based out in California. Not saying specifically for all you creepers out there, but he is in the basis of California. He is, stopped on the side because, you never want to drive while texting, while talking, or while video recording. So currently right now he is on the side of the road, but he wanted to make sure that he is here with all of us today. Ro, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. Just long travels. Been a busy week, but hey, I'm also recovering from COVID that I had like a week and a half ago. So I mean, I'm all good, tested negative, and now just getting back to work, getting back to things I love doing.
Well, that's good. Welcome to hopefully the feeling better world on the opposite side of COVID. You battled it. Yeah. Hopefully, you kicked its ass. And let's grab life to the horns. Now, with this, of course, again, we want to discuss Chris. So, Chris, if you could, go ahead and lead us into like a little bit of about yourself. I kind of gave you everybody the basics, but what kind of set you on this path? Was it artistically? Was it hobbies that you enjoyed doing? What exactly led you to be to the point of what? I want to pursue this degree. I see what it is. I see what it's about. What was it, like movies aspects? Was it TV shows that kind of got you in this line of work? Was it kind of the ability to build something from scratch? What exactly was it that led you, and what was the hardest part about getting into this?
Okay, well, I mean, you definitely hit it all the nail on the head when it comes to everything. For starters, I love TV, love movies, love music. I was that one who was in the room watching anime, trying to power up like I was Goku and all of that. So, I definitely love watching TV. And one of the biggest things that you actually hit on, which was surprising, is being able to bring stuff to life. Like, I think that's amazing. When I think of, Walt Disney, when I think of Stan Lee, when I think of the fact that these guys can have a vision of characters, and now they actually have a world, that we can all watch, we can all follow. That's something that I wanted to do as well. So, over time, I just thought to myself, I want to do something that I actually love and that I will have a passion for. And that's pretty much why I decided to go to school and pursue that. To be honest, I've always had a knack for art. I could draw better than the average kid. So it kind of came naturally. So I would say it wasn't really all that hard, other than, the school aspect and getting past those algebra classes and things like that. But other than that, I mean, if you're passionate about something, it tends to come off fairly easy.
Nice. Now, can you go ahead and describe what exactly is the digital and media, like as far as your degree goes? What is a production manager / graphic design specialist?
Okay, so as far as that, I would even say that title is almost a title that was kind of just given through my job. Basically, they're a bioscience company that they actually came up with. Uh, uh, One's a drug and another one is a device that actually helps with pain, and it's actually trying to help them stop the opioid pandemic. So there's no opioids involved. And they kind of blew up. So they were looking for like a production team to help with their demo videos, to help run their events, their webinars, everything, and do all the editing and even the AV aspect of putting everything together and connecting all, microphones and this and that and the third and everything that's needed. So that's kind of where the title came from. I'm part of the production team, so I would be one of the production managers. And going into it, the other two guys, they were more on the AV aspect. So when I came in, I knew more of the graphic design aspect. And so that's where they ended up making me the graphic design specialist. But we all do the same thing. And I've learned a lot about AV stuff when it comes to this job that I didn't know at first myself. I could do the typical, hooking up computers to this and that. But as far as like doing like a whole concert type thing and a whole event, there's a lot that I learned. So we're all pretty much, doing the exact same thing. But as far as school goes and like what I was basically pursuing, when it comes down to that, I wanted to know a lot of the digital media, a lot of production and audio, things like that, because I do make music myself. So, I wanted to over time make videos, things of that nature, and to where I wouldn't have to rely on someone else. I could make a song, I could do the audio, I can make a music video, edit the graphics and all of that myself without having to branch out, to someone else and obviously paying other people for that service.
Nice. Nice. So of course, with that, like, do you have a favorite project that you did while in college?
Yeah, I mean, all of the projects were basically my personal projects as far as music, that I would say is my favorite. Now, I've done a lot of things with other people, But one thing about that is your creativity tends to take different turns when you're working with other people. And some of them were nice and turned out real nice in the end. We actually had one that we made was like it was just a video just to send out to people to show what was important in life as far as family. And a lot of people tend to get caught up in their work and caught up in, so many other things in the world to where they don't spend time with their loved ones. And so we made this video that kind of a lot of people was touched by, I'll say that. And it turned out really nice. But I will say I had a different vision going into it, and it turned into something, slightly different in the end.
Okay. So with the line of work that you do, would you recommend a college degree, or is this something that somebody can just jump right into, or like what exactly does it all entail?
Yeah, I would definitely, it's a little bit of both. I definitely say I would recommend a college degree, but I also know that there's a lot of information out there via Google, YouTube, that you can learn on your own, because going into it, I had to basically do the things that I was asked to do in class. But me, I was the type of person who wanted to go above and beyond. So whenever I was to turn in projects for class, I wanted to do things that the professors would not expect and that I knew other students wouldn't be doing. Thus, YouTube and other ways of finding like how to use a green screen. They've mentioned it in school, but they didn't really hit on it. We didn't really use it. So I had to take it upon myself to buy my own green screen lights, went on YouTube, figured out how to use it perfectly and did it myself. So there's a lot of stuff that you could do. And even a part of digital media is just like photography alone. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who's doing photography who never went to school for it, and they're fairly successful.
Nice. Now, is there anything that specifically motivates you, like as far as your personal work? Because obviously, when you're actually working at your job location, you're doing a lot of things that they ask you to do, like make a video or make a commercial or do some sound editing or voice editing and stuff like that. But when it's just you doing your specific project, what exactly motivates you?
Yeah, I think the biggest motivation is what a lot of people would say that they want. It's pretty much to work for yourself, to not need other people. And one thing I think about that actually motivates me the most is every job that I've ever worked since I got out of school, I gave 110%. I was usually always that guy who everyone, went to. They knew I was reliable. I would go above and beyond. And the sad part about it was I kept thinking to myself that I'm going above and beyond to make someone else rich. Even if I got the promotions, even if I got, a raise or whatnot, there's still someone at the top who I'm going above and beyond to make them more and more rich. And it's like, hey man, I could give this effort for stuff I love that's going towards me and my family. And that, to be honest, that is the biggest motivation. I think about it every day. Even my job now, I love it. I love what I do and I love my job. But at the same time, if I'm able to start my own business doing the same thing, why not? And that's my biggest motivation there.
Nice. Rody, you have any questions?
So how long has it taken you to basically create a project and then put it into work? And when it comes to getting the personnel, whether it be to help work on the project or be part of the project, what comes into all of that to making something come to life?
Okay. Well, one thing I know for sure is a lot of people have different ways of doing things. Just even at my job now, I see how they're so structured when it comes to a lot of things. They break everything down to the T before you even move on to the fun stuff, the good stuff, whatnot. And I understand that. I understand that 100%. However, I also know that you can create content and get things out there. I don't really want to say taking shortcuts, but I would say just saying, hey, do it. Because one thing I've noticed is you can start putting a lot of things together and trying to be so perfectly structured to where now it's a week later, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, then something happens. So then you can't work on the project for a while. And then when you could have actually probably knocked a lot of stuff, knocked almost the whole thing out in 3 days, if you didn't try to be so perfectly structured. So I'm actually that guy who's kind of in between, to where even when it comes to other people, I try to do all the stuff that I can myself. So then if I need someone, it may be just an actor, or it may be, just someone to do a small part. So that way it would go faster, it would move much quicker. I like to knock things out sooner than later, because I just know life. And, when it comes to our health, when it just comes to lifestyle, when it comes to things like that, a lot of things can get in the way to where you don't have that time to work on it after a while. And me, I'm thinking to myself, I'd rather have content out there already. I'd rather show people, even if it's not perfect at the moment, I'd rather show people that I can do things and what I'm capable of, and just having it out there. So, and that's one thing that I would like to just kind of throw out there for anyone who's in this field. Yes, be as structured as possible, if you can, but also tell yourself, hey, let me at least have some stuff out there. That way you're not going to sit there and take more time thinking, oh, I have to do this, I have to do it this way, I have to do it that way. And then there's a possibility that you don't get projects done at all.
Well, so you don't work with a team per se, that you have those people to, split up those assignments and be like, hey, okay, we're trying to shoot this. We're trying to have this project done in 5 days. This is your part. I need it done. This is my part, where you come and have like a table talk and just saying, hey, this is everybody's part and it needs to be done by there. If not, hey, you're out and I'll get somebody else to, work on this part, right, even though that pushes the project a day or two later.
Right. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, that all just depends on what the project is. Obviously, if I'm doing things like a long film or independent film or something you may want to go ahead and get you a team and set that up and divvy up what everyone should be doing. At the moment, that's not where I'm going with things. I'm more so going in music, or even just short videos that are almost like commercials. I don't know if either of you guys know who Prince EA is, but he's a guy who just makes videos that are they're beautiful. He talks about time, using your time wisely. He talks about education and what you get out of it. And they're just short, maybe 3 to 5 minute videos. And some of them he'll have words, but he'll have actors and stuff in it and whatnot. I would definitely recommend looking them up if you haven't heard of them. But they're amazing. They're heartfelt. They catch your attention. They're beautiful. And these are a lot of things that he can do by himself. And that's sort of the route that I'm going with it, more so than big projects like independent films. And it's either that or music. And like I said, and a lot of that I know I can knock out most of that myself.
Okay. So what kind of programs do you utilize?
Oh, I mean, from all your basic programs, all the Microsoft, down to mainly I utilize the Adobe suite, the full Adobe suite, the Creative Cloud suite. I mean, everything in there. I feel like I can pretty much get everything done, from Premiere Pro to InDesign to Photoshop, all of those things. I've even came up with a app. And I did the prototype myself using XD through Adobe. And so then that way, when I went out to the developers so that I can get my app created, they knew exactly what I didn't have to try to explain it to them. And they had to ask me a bunch of questions. They could just look at the prototype that I hand them and be like, okay, we see where you're going with this. And they just asked me, some questions as far as my preferences within the app, and then they were able to get it going. So yeah, the Adobe, that Creative Cloud suite, to me, I feel like that's the way to go, especially if you're kind of doing your own independent thing, for sure.
Okay, so we'll get to the app in a second because I'm kind of curious about that. So what are the certain challenges that gets brought to your line of work? Like you're talking about all the pre-production stuff. Like what are the steps in order to get you to the actual editing table, to the editing computer, basically? Like what are those steps that you have to follow to make sure that what you're going into as far as editing wise, it's not going to screw you over, basically?
Right. Yeah, to be honest, and it's pretty obvious, time in itself is the biggest factor, because you do want to make sure that you can find time to start creating. For example, me and a buddy of mine, we came up with like a little show that we wanted to do that we were going to put on social media and whatnot. It's called Blurred Perspective, and all it was basically just trying to get people to see uh, each other's side of things. Whether you're talking politics, whether you were talking, relationships, and all of that, but try to get people to meet in the middle. And one of the biggest things that we've noticed was us finding that time to actually get together. And we would talk on the phone and we have these conversations about it and be like, yeah, so when we do it, so forth and so on. But then next, almost a week and a half passed and he wasn't available or I wasn't available. And that seems to always be the biggest issue. Even myself, just saying, okay, I already got a song that I made. Now I really want to make a video for it. And then I would go into it thinking, okay, today, oh yeah, I'll be off today. I'll make the video, but then I have to go get my daughter, or then something else happened. And here we go. Another 2 weeks have passed. And I'm thinking, I want to make that video for the song that I was talking about making, and that's one of the biggest things. But that's also just telling yourself that you do have to have some discipline. You do have to tell yourself, hey, if you really want this done, you have to get it done. You have to find that time, put that, set that time block in your schedule to say, hey, for example, Friday, no matter what, I know I'm off work Friday. That's what I'm doing. Nothing else. Obviously, if something, important or emergency, things like that come up, you got to do what you got to do. But there's some discipline to it that says, you won't, and that's with anything in life, to be honest, you won't be successful unless you have that discipline and tell yourself, hey, this has to be done. And that's one thing I will say that I have learned from school, just kind of hitting back from school, that makes it worth going, is because when those projects are due, they're due, or you get an F, and it's like, there is no saying, oh, well, I'll just do it next week, or no, it has to be due or you get a bad grade. And that's one of the main reasons why I would definitely say go to school. But it helps you to say, okay, I'm gonna set this in my time frame for this day or whatnot, and actually get it done.
Okay, so let's jump forward now. We're now in the computer room, right? Ready to upload the video content that we have to edit. And since unlike the musical artists that we've had, the photographer that we've had, the artists that we've had, like this is the first time where we've actually sat down with somebody to speak about the back end of things, because the whole point of this is talk about all things within the arts, and even whether it would be graphic design or video editing, that's kind of plays into a key factor of what you see, whether on TV, movies, stuff like that. So we are now, in the office, we're in a computer. What are some of the challenges that you've ran into, as well as, what is one of the first things that you set in motion to the finished piece? Let's talk about, your work specifically, not so much the side projects, but, your work. What gets you from point A to point B, starting point, uploading the video content? What do you have to make sure, whether if it's lighting, whether if it's color correction, And what are some of the challenges? Well, okay, let's make it simple. What is one of the biggest challenges that has ever happened since working for the company that you're working at now?
Okay. Well, for starters, I would say when it comes to my personal stuff, I'm one of those people who I'm constantly thinking. So if I'm even before I get to the desk for the editing process, um, I'm already plotting throughout every day. You know, when I'm sitting there eating dinner, when I'm sitting there, you know, about to take a shower or whatever the case may be, I'm plotting. So that way, when I do sit down, you already know what you're looking for. You already know what you're expecting. You already know what you want that video or that content to look like. And I don't know if it's, you know, just me, because like I think it also comes with writing music. Um, it's much harder to sit down and say, okay, let me think of a song, let me think of the lyrics, and do it right then and there. But if you're going throughout your day and you're like, ooh, I just got an idea for a song, and just throughout your day, you're like, oh yeah, I could do this. Oh, okay, yeah, that would be nice. Before you even start writing. Um, Now, when you sit down, all those ideas are in your head. So it's the same thing when it comes to editing as well. It's like, start thinking about everything throughout. If you have free time, if you're just doing your standard day-to-day stuff, brushing your teeth, etc., have that thought process, have it rolling in your head. So then that way, when you sit down, it's going to be much easier than someone who's trying to say, okay, how do I want this to look? Okay, how to, you know, and you're kind of, and you can end up having that kind of like writer's block type deal when you're sitting there, which could take longer. But I would definitely say when it comes to like the job aspect of it, um, there is a lot of things that can kind of throw you off. Just even just trying to find the things that you want alone. Because when you're looking for these things, either you're going somewhere to pay for graphics, you know, to pay for sound, you know, and all of that stuff. It's like you can go looking for a certain thing and might not find it. So now it's like, dang it, that whole idea that I was thinking of when I was brushing my teeth, I can't do that. I have to now think of something else. You know, and then not only that, I think one of the biggest things, and I've kind of learned over time, is things always look better on small cameras, on a small display screen. And so then you're like, okay, yeah, cut. Yeah, okay, we're good with that. Yeah, I like that. But then when you go and you put it on your computer screen and you blow it up, you realize the color doesn't look as good as you thought. It might be a little more blurry than you thought. And sometimes you can't go back and get that, you know, especially when you're using other people and you have actors and things like that. It's like you can't always go back and get it. So then that's when it becomes fairly tough to say, all right, how can I still make this work? You know, how can I fix this? And sometimes you just got to think placeholders. You know, can I stick something here that you know, it's not going to make it seem awkward at this part where something popped up or, you know, something happened, and like that whole process, it's kind of fun because it gets your gears going and trying to figure out, how can I fix this? How can I make this better? How can I, you know, still use this footage, or put something else in front of it, but still make it look good. So that's one of the biggest things, and definitely when it comes to the job as well, we've ran into that. You know, we've definitely ran into that situation to where we did a promo video for our location, what we call the Pit. We did a promo video, and it was during one of the workshops that we had, to where we were getting footage and we thought everything was good, but once we got back, some of it was blurry. So at that point, it's like, you know, we can't really use this footage the way we want it to. But we found alternatives, and we still got it done. And the promo video turned out nice and it was beautiful. But yeah, that's one of the biggest things. And it is, you know, just having those moments where you will have issues that you didn't realize before that editing process.
That's fair. That's very understanding. Ro, did you have any questions before we actually talk about the app?
Oh no, no, I'm excited to hear about it. That's what I was waiting for as well. So,
Well, going to one of my issues, it's not a long story short, it's a short story long. So that's my fault. So I apologize about that. So yes, let's move on
you're
to
all
the
good.
app there. So what exactly are you working on as far as this app? Like, what does it do? What is it? Can you, first off, can you actually talk about it?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so perfect.
I mean,
That's the golden question so far. Because if you can't, then there's no point to the questions. So what is it? Like, what are you trying to create? When is there expected launch date? Like, what is the progress on this?
okay, so the progress was a full 18 weeks. So before I get into it, I'll just say the progress was a full 18 weeks. I started towards the end of November, so I got a little while to go. I don't have an exact launch date just yet. But I'm very excited. The app in itself is called Dispute.
Okay.
And this app is basically almost like it's a poll app, pretty much. But here's how it works. So let's say me and you were talking about cartoons and you think one is better than the other. I think the other is better. We can just punch in that question into the app. Hey, and I actually decided to keep it towards like agree or disagree. Okay, so I think, Spider-Man is better than Superman. Agree or disagree?
Agreed.
And so you can, I'm gonna have to disagree, but yeah, so you can agree or you disagree. And then once you press the button, it's gonna pop up and it's gonna have demographics of, first of all, it's gonna give you a percent. 90% of people said Superman was, they agree that Superman's better. Then it's going to have a full demographics of men, women, location, et cetera, to show you who's all voting.
So apparently he's talking facts right now because he said 90%. So are these facts right now or are these opinions?
Yeah. So, I mean, first of all, and that's one of the sweetest parts about it is it's still an opinion-based thing, but it does kind of show, and one of the biggest things is I want to hit on is basically like questions. Let's say relationship. So, and there will be categories. So you have like politics, science, health and science, sports, love and relationships, entertainment. So then you can choose which one that you want to go to. But let's say there's people who actually a husband and a wife, and let's just say the husband has a female best friend who he hangs out with on the weekend, and the wife doesn't like it. She just wants to know, hey, most people wouldn't be cool with this. Oh yeah, you're wrong. Da da da. Well, let's find out. Put it in the app, and then it's gonna tell you, okay, hey, see, I told you. Da da da. One of the sweet part about it is, and I think that this is kind of what got the developers excited about it as well, is the fact of even if you don't have a question that you want to put in, you can just surf. You can just go from let me go to sports next. Click. They think da 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 is better than da da da. Oh heck no. Disagree. Oh, they think such and such is going to make the playoffs this year. Oh yeah, no, I agree with that. And you can kind of just continue to just use it like a social media app. But then you also, if you ever run into those situations where you feel like, man, no, I'm going to prove that you're wrong in a sense, even though it is opinion based. I'm going to prove that you're wrong in a sense. Let's find out then, since you think most people would be okay with that. Let's put it in dispute. So, and my whole goal is when it comes to this is it's going to be fun and entertaining, but it also is going to be informational. And then I want it to be to the point to where, hey, you might see it on Fox, CNN, whoever. Yeah, and 80% of the people think, Biden is da 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 from the app Dispute. You might see it on the NBA games, NFL games. Yeah, from the Dispute app. 60% of people think, the Bucks are going to win the Super Bowl and try to get it out there like that as well. But I want to promote the entertaining aspect of it. Just sitting there to where like, oh yeah, let me check health and science today or right now. Oh, let me go to, love and relationships. Oh, let me go to sports. And you can just kind of, even if you don't have the question, you can just kind of keep, going forward, just looking at stuff, agreeing or disagreeing, adding in your poll and seeing how many percent of people, agree or disagree with it. So, and yeah, I'm pretty excited. I would say telling the developers about it, they got very excited. And they think that it could be something really nice. So I know that there's a process to it as well. Just getting it out there and making sure that people are going to bite per se. But yeah, I'm excited to run the app for sure.
So really, it sounds like how DraftKings kind of took over that whole sports betting game in a way. With yours, a lot of times, like you see polls and stuff like that, like for an example, political based. You see a lot of political polls, but it's like from like a certain demographic or certain amount of people or specific location.
Small town.
Small
Right.
town,
Small
exactly.
towns,
Yeah, that's
big,
exactly what I was getting
big
at.
cities.
Yep.
You're not getting the full spectrum of
Yep.
what United States gets, right? I understand.
Yep. But with what you're trying to do is you're trying to get exactly what, Ro and I just said, but more on a larger spectrum. So you're going to get a lot more individuals who are either going to agree, disagree. I don't know if you mentioned multiple choice, but like, multiple choice wise, which one's better? And I'm only going to do this to play, devil's advocate and kind of like, be a little bit of a pusher here, but who's better, Michael Jordan or LeBron James? Because I know Ro's choice on that, and I think I have an idea of yours too, but I would be the complete opposite. So with that, it would be interesting.
Right.
But I'm just going to take a guess here. Both of you would be James, right?
No.
Yeah.
Ah.
LeBron James.
Oh, see, Chris, you
Kobe goes before LeBron James, if you ask me, but Michael Jordan's number one for sure.
Okay, so you and I are on the same level. You confused me with that Lakers hat for a second there.
Kobe all day.
But I get what you're saying as far as that app goes, because it could be very positive to get more on that. In some cases,
And we see it all the time, kind of on social media now. If there's a video, it's like everyone claims they know everything about, who's in it, what they're saying, what they're talking about, and everyone's putting their opinion there. So it's like, let's use that same concept, but in like a poll, type of situation, and go from there.
Right. Exactly. Ro, did you have any other questions?
No. Sounds like a pretty interesting app. I just had like little side things to say. No questions specifically when he was talking about a guy having a female best friend. Like, and then that's a one-sided sword. The thing that goes, that's a double standard because
Right.
women can have that male best friend years ago. Oh, he's just a friend, but
Right. Well, see, and even then I was kind of explaining the situation, but putting it in, you would just say, my spouse has a best friend of the opposite sex, and do you think that it's okay to so yeah, I don't want to just
people. You definitely know people are gonna be like, okay, so which side are we talking about?
Right.
Are we talking about, is it the male having a girl best friend? Hold up, is it a female? I believe there's a lot of things that would come into play with that question, because that's definitely a loaded question.
Well, that
that's
could
the
be...
sweet thing about the app is, yeah, man, there's like, that's what we want. We kind of want to have people engaged in it like that, whether it seems slightly controversial or whatever the case may be, like we want them to be engaged.
Right, and plus that sounds like a next showing for Cavalier Family, right? Hot topics. Just have two males and two females, like perspective wise, and maybe a moderator in there in between. But
Yeah,
Yeah, no.
definitely. Let's get spicy.
But with that, like, I honestly can't think of any other questions. You put it in hindsight exactly, what you do, how you complete projects. I guess my last question, and this is of course for the audience and everyone who's listening and watching as well, is where can they see some of your work? Is there a location? Is there a way to follow you as far as your work progress, specifically on the app? Is there, and what I mean by that is, can they to watch you and the progress of the app for it to be created? Is there some place that they could follow you?
Yeah, as far as the app itself, not at the moment. Yeah, I haven't really. I'm not really set to push anything just yet. Got some ideas and things as far as commercials and stuff that I'm going to make for the app, but I haven't pushed anything yet. I definitely want it to be developed. I will say, but when it comes to my music, Christopher McLennan at Facebook.com or just Facebook app. Also, you can find some of them on Instagram. I don't have a lot on there just yet. I actually started my Instagram up, but if you go to also AMP MC AMP MC Productions on Facebook, I got most of my freestyles and my music videos and things that I did on there. So if you want to, get a good look at the graphics and things that I use, and also here's some of my music, you can find it on there as well.
That's perfect, because what we'll do too is we'll go ahead, is after the show, obviously people are going to see it in the description, but since we're recording currently, after the show, you're going to send me all that information. So in that way, what I could do is I could put that in the description as far as the podcast and YouTube. So then that way they don't actually have to remember that. All you have to do is actually go in the description below, click or copy and paste it. And then there you go. And you get to see everything that he's done. And with that, what we will be doing is we'll be jumping back in time to the year of 2005. Chris, I know I'm going to put you on the spot here, but do you have a rap or a little musical lyric to jumpstart us to go back in time? Can you think of anything? If not, it's okay. It's putting you on the spot right now.
Yeah, definitely not offhand.
That's all right. That's all right. I can see like your face is getting a little red right now. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and jump back into 2005. And welcome back to the segment that we like to do called Back in Time. We are officially in 2005. And with the Back in Time segment, what we do is we actually go through the top 5 TV shows, cartoons, toys, and grossing movies. And this week, of course, we have music. Now, some of the categories is not in a specific order, as of course we'll discuss later on once we get to that category. And again, if there is something that you guys would like to hear us discuss more, just leave a comment below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as well on both the podcast streams as well as the YouTube channel as well, because we want the viewership. We need your guys' support, obviously. And we love to have your support. We love to have the communication with you guys too. Just want to make sure what we can do to make this more entertaining for you. If it's already entertaining, then fantastic. So with that in mind, what we're going to do is we're going to start with the top TV shows of 2005. With that, the information comes from Nielsen Media Research. It comes from, of course, Wikipedia. The first one is American Idol. It was number 1 for a year, was Tuesday's show. Number 2 for a year was on Wednesday's show. Number 2 is CSI. Number 3 is Desperate Housewives. Number 4, Grey's Anatomy, which of course everyone knows that they killed off McDreamy. And number 5 was Without a Trace. Out of all those shows, I do remember American Idol. I remember the very first season with, of course, Kelly. And don't remember the other dude's name. Just remember the fro that he had going on there. Justin, I believe, actually, because they made a movie, when Justin met Kelly, or when Kelly met Justin. Of course, Clay Aiken, Ruben, I believe, was another one. Adam Lambert was another one. So out of all those movies, I mean, Desperate Housewives, who cannot forget about Eva Longoria? I mean, she's just a staple of that show to me. Grey's Anatomy, obviously, that's those seasons are still going on. I don't think they'll ever have an ending. That's basically all I have. Ro, you're kind of smiling over there. What do you have to say?
I mean, for me, CSI, I I'm all into you know, criminal shows and stuff like that, movies and stuff like that. So I've seen a couple of CSI TV shows. Somebody tried to get me on Grey's Anatomy. It's just too teary eyed for me.
Same.
It's you know, I can say it's too girly, you know, just to be honest, but I'm not. Not really a big Grey Anatomy fan.
So you're not a
I
big fan
can't.
of This Is Us either?
No, not at all. Not at all. I don't have drama in my life, which is a good thing. So I like watching, you know, shows with a lot of drama, not too much crime and stuff.
Okay, that's fair. Do you have a favorite American Idol winner?
Um, no, I never really watched American Idol.
No?
Like, no, like, um, I'd watch some clips here, you know, of just people singing, but never like actively watch. But I do watch The Voice. I mean, that's here nor there, right, in this conversation. But I'm not really a big American. And I thought Simon, I mean, everybody thought Simon was, you know, just a little bit over the top. But I think it was all just for show, right?
Okay, so not a Daughtry fan. Got it. Chris, what about you?
Yeah, I would definitely say with all of those, I've never really watched any of them. American Idol, that first season, I was dedicated. Yeah, I watched that entire thing, every episode on time, during the air. But then after that, it kind of, I'm one of those people when things are repetitive so much, I kind of fall off.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I stopped watching it after then.
Okay. Who are you, a Kelly fan or are you a Justin fan?
Definitely a Kelly fan. I had a little Kelly crush,
Well, I'm pretty sure you, as well as the rest of America, was just as captivated because when that show came on, there was nothing like it.
Right, right.
Did you ever cast your vote though?
Yeah. And I will say there were other seasons that I didn't watch like every episode. I wasn't watching it, actively like that. But I've sat down with girlfriends and we've watched some and cast some votes and
Oh, he said S, ladies and gentlemen. He said S. He said girlfriends.
hey, how many years have they had? Only got one wife.
There you go. All right, gents, let's go ahead and let's move to top cartoons, which, Chris, this is your category, good sir.
All right. So top cartoons. First one, The Boondocks. And this was the time that it premiered. That was definitely my faves. I was actually working at Blockbuster as a manager of Blockbuster when it came out, and I just came across the CD, and it changed my life. I thought it was the greatest thing ever, man. And to this day, I would just throw it on just to sit and watch it, and love it.
Do you have a favorite episode?
Oh man, I got a favorite few. I know Catch a Freeman was definitely one of them. I think there was one, Home Alone, where Pops went on he'd do a big trip. But yeah, there's a lot of them, man. I could go over that I love, man. I could watch them at any time and still be entertained by it.
Did you ever watch Eddie Murphy's PJs?
PJs?
Yeah, so Eddie Murphy actually, see, Ro knows what I'm talking about. So PJs was a cartoon that Eddie Murphy did where it's all based in the projects in New York.
No, nothing of it.
Yeah, the PJs. Hey, the PJs was hilarious.
What?
Yeah, the PJs.
It was, I mean, Ro can correct me on this, but it was the Boondocks of that time period, like when it came out.
Yes, absolutely. But I'll say the vulgarness of the Boondocks definitely outweighs the PJs because what was allowed on TV then and now. But definitely, you can say it was definitely the Boondocks of of the like 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah, so if you get a chance, Chris, check out PJs. Like you can actually watch some of the clips on YouTube too.
I will now.
It's actually pretty funny. It was my first introduction to it was sociology class in high school. Showed us a few episodes there, and it was really funny. It was really
got
funny.
The crackhead on there.
So you remember Eddie Murphy's skit that you would do on Saturday Night Live when he would always like bust open up the door, or he would like kind of dress up as Buckwheat from Little Rascals and stuff, like with the fro and stuff. Right. Yeah, so take that, but put that in a cartoon.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
I'm definitely gonna be sure.
I feel like it was not animated, but it was like claymation. You can say. Yes. It was claymation.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Right. I'll check it out for sure. But going down the list, so number 2, we have The Fairly Odd Parents. Number 3, we have DC's Teen Titans, another one of ones that I got hooked on for a while.
Okay, so Teen Titans or Teen Titans Go?
Actually, Teen Titans Go.
Really?
Yeah. It just kind of caught it on Cartoon Network, and it just got stuck on it for a while.
Over Teen Titans?
So you prefer Teen Titans Go over Teen Titans?
Yeah, actually I do.
I've never watched an episode of Teen Titans Go. Never.
I feel like it was maybe a little more kiddie in a sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
But I guess I could like that whole fact of it. It was different.
Can't do it.
When I heard that they're doing Teen Titans Go, like, oh, okay, continuation, kind of like how Marvel is bringing the 90s X-Men into Disney Plus. Like, okay, continuation with it, because you don't really have a clear story on what happened to what's her face, who was kind of like girlfriends with Beast Boy. Who was a protege to Deathstroke.
Oh, freak! I forget her name.
Yeah, I forgot her name, but you don't really have a clear definition of exactly what happened, because she kind of just turns to stone and that's it. It's like,
isn't it Tara or something like that?
Yeah, Tara. Yeah,
Tara. Yeah,
Tara. Like, you don't have a clear information on what happens. Like, yeah, she gets turned to stone, but is she officially gone? Like, what happened? So when I heard that they were releasing Teen Titans Go, I was like, oh, fantastic. It could be a continuation. And then they made it more like kiddie-ish. Right. I was like, where's the seriousness of it? Like, I want Robin to be, sarcastic and be like, that funny aspect to it. But I also want him to be a badass. Like, I want Raven to be dark. I want Beast Boy to be goofy. Like, they just kind of took Beast Boy's character and molded it into everybody. Like Cyborg, he was perfect opposite of Robin, because like they would clash every once in a while, but as a team though, like they were perfect. And then I just felt like they just took Beast Boy's goofiness and just combined it to all the characters. I don't know, I just kind of missed that seriousness, like when it needed to be serious, I guess.
I mean, how about the live action?
I mean, we've only seen like a couple of episodes in the season. Like when I first saw the introduction to it, like I'm all for like how they kind of molded everybody. The only person I couldn't really, I guess, I don't know. I didn't like how Beast Boy came from like another dimension. First of all, like he kind of came from a different dimension. I kind of liked Raven's backstory a little bit, kind of like a darker twist to it. Like, okay, that's great. I like the fact that, Dick Grayson is a cop, because it kind of molded it from when he was a cop in the comics. Cyborg, I can't really remember about Cyborg. Starfire, I was disappointed in her outfit. It wasn't the acting, it wasn't the girl, it was just it didn't remind me of Starfire for some reason. And then the second season, like the second season came out and you saw the outfit on that, and I was like, that's Starfire. That's what me personally what I was missing from the first.
I haven't even started the second season.
Yeah, neither have
Thanks
we.
for ruining it. No, just joking.
Chris, have you seen any of the seasons?
I've seen the first, I want to say 2 episodes of the first season.
Yeah, that's basically where we're at.
But yeah, I was I watched so much stuff to where that wasn't at the top of the radar.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because he's watching Teen Titan Go.
Hey, when it comes to that, I really do feel like when it comes to the superhero stuff, like, Teen Titans, like, and don't get me wrong, loved it. But it was expected in a lot of ways. Teen Titan Go was just a way to kind of be different. That's the reason why I liked it. It was,
okay.
It did come off as more kiddie. I knew it wouldn't be a lot of people's favorite,
Right.
Like, to me, that was the whole point of it. It was just something different, And I would just sit there and laugh and look at it like I'm watching, a kiddie show. So,
bet you watch Baruto too, huh?
Never seen it. Never even started it. Probably will though.
So let's go continuation to number 4.
All right. So moving down, we have American Dad, and at the time that was being premiered. We have South Park, which is, I think you can't go wrong with South Park if you ask me.
No. Out of all those cartoons, South Park is probably my favorite. Watched it when I was in high school. Continue to watch it. I fell off a little bit, but South Park is one of those cartoons that I can always go back to, and I always have something makes me laugh at some point of the actual show itself.
Family Guy.
What?
I said definitely Family Guy.
So yeah, that's one of the honorable mentions. Family Guy, and his return to Fox after a 3-year cancellation as well. That one, I would say, out of everything on the list, other than Boondocks, that would be my number 2. Yeah, Family Guy. They just know how to hit the comedy in the right way, if you ask me.
All right, so Chris, let's actually do something different on this one. So name your top 3 from the cartoon list there.
Oh, number 1, Boondocks for sure. Number 2, I'm gonna go with Family Guy in the honorable mention, and then number 3, South Park for sure.
I mean, you can go with Teen Titans Go too if you prefer that over.
Nope. South Park.
Bro,
definitely not over South Park. That's for sure.
For me, definitely Boondocks, Family Guy, and Teen Titans off this list. Fairly Odd Parents is up there too. I'm not even gonna lie. I liked Fairly Odd Parents. There was a lot of hidden drama that people don't know about. And if you do your research, yeah, Wanda was a cheater, but we won't talk about that. Yeah, those are mine. Not really. I've never been really a South Park fan, and I thought American Dad was too close to Family Guy, but it was reaching, so I was like, I can't change. I can't jump over like that.
And that's fair. I would say my number 1 would be South Park. Number 2 would be Family Guy. Number 3 would be Teen Titans for me, or American Dad. Ooh, let's go with Teen Titans. Yeah. So one of the reasons why Family Guy was actually pulled off the air were 2 episodes from what I was told. One of the ones was when Peter became a woman in one of the episodes, like he gets hit by something, becomes a woman, and then Stewie tries to breastfeed off of Peter. And then like if you've all seen that episode, you know what's coming next. Him starting to freak out and stuff. So that's one of the episodes that it was pulled. The other episode, from my understanding, is Peter actually fell off the balcony and he was going through a whole bunch of cactuses and he had a robe on, and then the robe got pulled from one of the cactuses So now he's going and he's hitting all these cactuses as he's falling down the hill naked. So that was another episode, I guess I was pulling, but it's been pulled quite a few times. So,
Well,
all
They
right.
should just let
I'm
it
surprised
go.
it made it that long.
It's
Let me say that.
gold. Family Guy is gold. Like you just can't like. I don't know. It's just one of those shows that are gold. You know, like you can let them go as crazy as they want. Like you know, it's comedy. People get offended with comedy. Hey, it is what it is.
Well, let's see what you guys think. Leave a comment below. Let us know, or since if you follow us on social media, let us know what your top three were out of the top cartoons. As far as number one, Boondocks, Fairly Odd Parents, Teen Titans, American Dad, South Park, and we'll even throw in Family Guy there. Let us know the top three of your choices, and I mean, just leave a comment and explain why. And with that, we'll go ahead and bring us to the next section of Ro, who he will be taking over as far as the top toys.
Toys. Here we go. So we have the Xbox 360. Like, I mean, I've had a lot of systems growing up. So I've been a big Xbox fan. I've had, I felt like anybody who owns a PlayStation is a single child and has no friends, which that was me at one point. But Xbox 360, definitely loved it. It came out with just a lot of great games, Halo, like people were big on Halo and stuff like that. Dora's Tall Kitchen, I mean, I don't really know much about it. Never had Dora's Tall Kitchen. Furby, everybody knows about Furby, but never really had a Furby toy. Leapster, and then V Smile. I don't know what any of those are.
So Leapster and V Smile were all educational toys for kids. I know that. Leapster is one of the major ones.
Oh, the one with the frog?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And then V Smile is one of the computer bases where, it's kind of educational as well. One thing I do remember as far as Furby goes is that when you got like four of them or two of them together and they would start talking in their own different language, it was like Skynet taking over at that point. Like just 2 to 4 Furbies just talking in their own language, probably plotting on how they're going to kill their owner. So you have that.
Yeah, I'm glad I never got it.
Obviously, Xbox 360. When you and I, Ro, were together during the college program and stuff, like I brought my Xbox. I think you brought your TV, and it was just a group of guys just playing. I think Modern Warfare is one that we always played together. I can't really think of any other game because back then it was 2010 and Modern Warfare 2 came out, and we were just playing that constantly. You always played NBA as well, and then who can forget the Arkham series too? Great series in that manner. I think Halo 1 and 2 came out during the first Xbox. And then was it Halo 3 came out on the first Xbox as well, or was that when they transitioned to Xbox 360? Because I know 4 was Xbox 360, but was 3 number Xbox?
I thought 3 was the 360 as well. I thought
was
that's
it the 360?
That blew up on the 360. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because huge Halo fan. So right now, currently, I'm playing Infinite. So
yeah, they had the Halo 4, Forward Unto Dawn, for the 360, and then they had the Halo Reach, the Master Chief Collection, and the Combat Evolved Anniversary version. Those were the main 3 that were out for Xbox 360.
And then Halo 3 ODST too.
Yeah.
Yep. Remember that, Chris? What did you game? Any big games during that time period?
Yeah, I definitely had a 360. I remember going from PlayStation to the Xbox, that first one, and then I've had all Xboxes ever since. But see, yeah, I was definitely I'm definitely a gamer. So when it came to the 360, I had so many games. It was um yeah, I was definitely huge on sports. So the 2Ks,
Yes, sir.
yeah, I was like crazy. But yeah, I was into Halo. Also, I believe Gears of War.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Ended up being
Yeah.
one of the big ones that came out, and yeah, I started playing those. So yeah, I love my 360. So definitely.
Nice. Well, with that, what we'll do is we'll jump ship to the music. Chris, you want to take forward onto Dawn onto this one?
All right.
Pun
Well,
intended.
the music. Okay, so number one, "We Belong Together," Mariah Carey, which is
Oh, that's so
one
sweet.
of
Saying that we belong together, Chris.
the don't we? But yeah, she that song, yeah, man, I definitely remember a lot of little dances and things of that nature. And and my both of my sisters, they sang. So yeah, I heard a lot of that, a whole lot of that. Number two, we're looking at "Hollaback Girl" with Gwen Stefani. Um, yeah, definitely heard that a lot as well.
You know that
Uh,
song is Bananas. It's Bananas.
However they want to spell it.
Bananas.
It's just bananas.
It just remind me of that Chris Rock stand up. uh, so, and then number three, we have "Let Me Love You" by Mario, which is actually my number one karaoke song.
Okay, you're gonna
So,
sing for us right now?
oh, definitely not. Um,
Wait a
but
minute.
yeah, if we're doing karaoke, that's usually going to be on my list. And there's some notes that I cannot hit, but I will try every time. And then let's see, number four, "Since You've Been Gone," Kelly Clarkson, and number five, "One Two Step," Sierra
Oh,
Missy
geez. Oh God.
What's wrong, bro?
That song. I heard it so many times. I as soon as he said it, I just heard it playing in my head. Memories is terrible.
Well, you shouldn't have said that because now going forward, whenever your introduction comes into play on the show,
Oh
that
wow.
song is gonna
Yeah.
come first, just for you.
Yeah. Great. Yeah.
Just you got to just let me love you, okay? Because we belong together.
I'll do that, but not if we're one two stepping.
Because since you've been gone, um, the shit's been bananas. Because you got to holler back at your girl.
I miss you, girl.
Listen, once you become a dad, it's just nothing but all dad jokes all day, every day.
Feel that.
All right, so let's go ahead and go to the top grossing movies of 2005. All the research was done at thenumbers.com. Some honorable mentions. Shockingly, some of these actually came in less than 1 through 5. Actually, shockingly, like Batman Begins, for example, that was at number 10. Fantastic Four was at number 11. Wedding Crashers 13. That movie makes me want to shout. And then you have Walk the Line, which is number 23. Brokeback Mountain, of course, came in 24. That actually won Best Director, Score, and Writing at the Academy Awards. Number one, we'll jumpstart.
Yeah, I remember when you wanted to watch that movie.
Let's see here. Number one is Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. That's raised $887.4 million. Number two was Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, which raised $848.9 million. Number three is The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe at $720.5 million. Number four is War of the Worlds for $606.8 million. And number five was Madagascar, $556.5 million. I'll be honest, it is a very much Academy Award. And so, it's on one of the movies that you have to watch before you die. So if there's ever a chance, it is a historically like memorable movie. So there you go. But out of the and we're referring to Brokeback Mountain, of course.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And then as far as the top five goes, I've seen all of them. I'll be honest, a little spoiler alert. I was going to pick Star Wars Episode 3 for the next segment of Sell Me the Movie, but I thought that would be a little too easy for me. Last episode we did have our previous guest Tom. He did pick a movie for me, which I'll be completely honest with you, I think I failed as far as Sell Me a Movie. Tom and Lee both kicked my butt when it came to that segment because I just flopped on it. But Chronicles of Narnia, I watched in the theater when I was younger. War of the Worlds watched when it came out in DVD. Madagascar, same thing, DVD as well. But I mean, all those movies, in my opinion, Madagascar, I would honestly probably put Batman Begins or Fantastic Four before that one. But it's not my list. We're just going off of the information that we're given. But I mean, episode 3, in my personal opinion, is probably the best lightsaber duel in all of the 9 episodes. But that's me.
I wasn't a big Star Wars fan. Not gonna lie. So.
Well, you've never seen all of them.
Yeah, true.
Same.
Chris, you too?
Yeah, I like them, I guess I would say. And I feel like it's definitely movies I can get into, but after the first 2, I didn't really keep up on it. It seemed like a lot of people was eager to, catch them afterwards, and me, I just, no.
All right, so this leaves it up to the audience. Audience, leave a comment below, and from a rank from 1 to what are you doing, leave a comment and letting Chris and Ro know that they have to at least watch the whole series just once. But besides that, what do you guys feel of the order for the movies?
I'm surprised. Batman Begins ended up in an honorable mention. Also, Wedding Crashers, because I thought those movies, like, during that time, like, there was a lot of people who talked about those movies, and there's still movies that like people like even quote today, like just randomly, or like those are one of the movies people will be like, hey, let's talk about, let's watch Wedding Crashers, like just randomly, So I'm surprised those 2 movies ended up not in the top 5, personally.
Yeah, I would definitely say I'm highly surprised with the 2 that he said. Batman Begins and Wedding Crasher, to me, just seems like at that time it was very talked about. And when I seen it, like, I thought it was hilarious. Like, I watched it back to back.
Stage 5 clinger. Guess it's gonna throw me into the lion's den. Yeah, no, I would agree. I would agree with all that.
So it's surprising that I would have thought definitely higher. The rest of them, though, I can see why they are the top 5. I definitely could see why. The Harry Potters obviously went crazy. Star Wars obviously went crazy. I guess, definitely. I think the rest of them make sense.
Perfect. So with that, what we'll do is we'll jump into our next segment called Sell Me the Movie.
Hello there, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and children.
And welcome to Sell Me a Movie. This is where what we do is we take 3 minutes. Each of us takes a turn, and we go ahead and debate on why the movie that we chose from the top 5 is probably the best movie of that time frame. Of course, with all guests, we do see if Chris wants to go first. And again, through these movies, nobody has the same movie. It's all done by algorithm, and it's all done by to the point where we do not pick the same movie. And with that in mind, Chris, would you like to go first, or Ro? Which one of you guys want to go first?
I'll take it. I'll
Okay,
go ahead.
perfect. All right, my friend.
Uh,
So with this,
yeah, I don't know
Chris,
how well I'm going to do as far as selling this, but
well, again, you
give it a
have
shot.
3 minutes, so you don't have to use the whole entire 3 minutes. But I'm going to count you down in 3, 2, 1, go, and just go ahead and start off. All right.
All right, sounds good.
All right. In 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, so the movie that I'm going to go over and sell to you is The War of the Worlds. And the reason why I believe this was definitely one of the top movies, if not the top movie, 2005, is there was a different element to this movie that you wouldn't have got from any of the other movies on the list, or that would have even been in the top categories. This movie, it's not just your ordinary alien type of movie. It was actually more like they were here all along, but we didn't know this, and over time, you will eventually see that they start to emerge and come out of nowhere. Now, one of the biggest things about it is I feel like the graphic aspect of it was beautiful. Usually you would see these alien movies where the things are about the size of stuff that you would normally see on Earth. In this case, imagine you being in this situation to where you're looking up and you're seeing these huge alien robot type deals. Like I put myself in that situation, and putting myself in that situation, I can understand the fear behind it. And that's kind of how I felt watching the movie. I think even to this day, I could watch it again and I would still have that strong sense of fear, seeing these aliens take over, seeing these tall mechanical type aliens. And I believe when it comes down to the other movies on the list, you almost know what to expect. When it comes to this one, you didn't know what to expect at all. And that whole factor of not knowing what you're gonna get down to the end is one of the main reasons why I say this was one of the best movies of that year to me.
Okay, cool. Now, as a guest, there was 30 seconds. Are you good, or do you want to add one more sentence in there?
Yeah, considering it's been a little while since I've seen it, I'm trying to think of more details in it as far as the movie. But yeah, no, I mean, I think I'm all right. I think I'm good with it.
All right, Ro, do you want to go next, or you want me to go next?
I got it.
Oh, man of confidence. Okay. All right.
First of all,
three. Go ahead before I count you down.
Oh no, you can.
All right. So in 3, 2, 1, go.
First of all, we're gonna have to disagree with the you didn't know what you was gonna get part. Madagascar, you definitely did not know what you were gonna get. One being it's an it's an animated film. Like when people see animated films, we automatically assume kid movie, right? In this case, it is, but it's family friendly. Like if you're a movie person, you're gonna like this movie. It has comedians. It has Chris Rock in there. It has Cedric the Entertainer. Ben Stiller. It even has our, one of our favorite people, Jada Pinkett Smith, right, in the movie. So I mean, like, it's a lot. It's like it's a funny movie, and from the previews, you thought they were just gonna be, think animals who are in a zoo. starting off in the city and like everything is based in the city. But no, next thing you know, they're stuck. Uh, they they end up in the middle of Africa, and we know how like animals who are raised in like in what's the word I'm looking for? Uh, Animals who are like raised in the zoo versus animals who are lived in the wild. Like
Captivity.
yeah, captivity. Thank you. You know how that is. So like putting it into an animated way, to say like, hey, if these were you know creatures, that animals that can communicate, we could understand what they're saying, and they go into the wild, like how scared, shitless they'd be in the actual wild. So you kind of get that spectrum of like, okay, like there's a whole lion, a zebra, a hippo, and some penguins who would never be friends in real life. Who we're gonna make them friends. They're gonna go on a wild adventure, and they're gonna end up in Africa, and they all have to do so. They all have to stay together to survive. But like, it's a hilarious movie. Like, it's just the comedians themselves. Like, we already know about Chris Rock. We know about Cedric the Entertainer, Ben Stiller. We know like how funny they are in movies. So like just them in the movie like makes you want to watch it. Like, and you never know what you're gonna get. And there's partying lemurs and
Time.
penguins.
All right.
I could have kept going.
All right. So I'm going to need someone to count me down.
3 minutes and 3, 2, 1, go.
All right. So with this movie, I was going to pick Star Wars, but again, that was going to be too easy for me. So I actually went with Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Now, the reason why I chose this movie is because a lot of us, this was during our childhood. So I want you to go back and think of how you were when you read that first Harry Potter book, filled with mystic, filled with story plots, and think of you as Harry, Hermione, or even Ron specifically. Now, jumpstart and let's go to the movies. The movies brought our childhood to life. Now let's jumpstart to and go forward to the Goblet of Fire. It has such a more darker tone to it, but it also brings the fun in with the action. It is literally like a life by trial game show. What I mean by that is you have Harry that goes and basically he represents Gryffindor in a World Cup tournament in a way where the sporting events go. So he has to go in the water. There's a Quidditch match. Just the whole movie itself is just filled with nonstop action, basically, and it's done with a darker tone than the other movies prior to that. It was directed by Mike Newell, who did 4 Weddings and a Funeral. Screenplay was Steve Kloves. Obviously, the novel was from J.K. Rowling, and all-star cast. You have Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, Rupert Grant, Alan Rickman, may he rest in peace, David Tennant, and Robert Pattinson. Now, I prefer Robert Pattinson in this movie rather than a shining vampire, but he's only in there for a short period of time. But hey, he kind of wins us all over as in a way that he couldn't with Twilight, and that's all good. But again, it's all filled with action. It's great as far as a family flick as well. Though it may scare some viewers depending on the age, it's still an overall well done movie. Probably one of the best in all of the actual series. And spoiler alert, but if I have to sell you this movie from 2005, what are you doing with your life? It obviously brings back Voldemort as well. He who shall not be named comes back into this. And how does that happen? Well, you kind of have to find that out on your own. I already gave you somewhat of a spoiler. So go ahead, find that out a little bit more on how he comes back to life and a basic showdown between him and Harry. One of the biggest showdowns in the actual series, just because of the fact that he wants to get his revenge on him. He wants to be able to say, you're the little kid that kind of ruined my life and I want to get back at you. So with that, all I have to say is go watch it. But before that, obviously watch the other movies because it's a great flick. And the whole series itself is a great flick just to sit down and watch during a rainy time period of the season or even during the snow period. Doesn't matter. And you all will enjoy it. Plus, it has a lot of mythical creatures as well. So, what are you doing? Done. All right. Well, that kind of brings our show to a close. So with that in mind, let us know what movie you think out of those top 5 is your favorite. And if you have a movie that's not on that list, but came out in that same year, leave a comment below. Let us know of, what type of movies you like to enjoy, as well as what you want us to hear us discuss. Again, after the show, it will go into a little bit more of a deeper complex or deeper conversations of the year, as each week will be a separate category of one specific year. And with that in mind, Chris, once again, like to thank you for coming on the show, as well as before I, of course, end the show, go ahead and let everyone know where they can find you again.
All right. Well, I definitely appreciate you having me on the show. And yes, you can listen to my music and also view my videos that I created all myself on MC Productions at facebook.com. You'll find all my content on there.
Awesome. And with that in mind, Chris, again, can't thank you enough for joining us tonight. Ro, same with you, man. Welcome to the cast and the crew. And love to have you guys on again at some point. A little more discussion on that Superman versus Spider-Man. Spoiler alert, Spider-Man. But with that in mind, we love you all and hope you have a great night.